allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ready for an attendance roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Owen. Absent. Mrs. Percival. Mrs. Percival.
Thank you. I'm here.
Mr. Capabianco.
Excuse me 1 minute. I'd like to explain. I have a head cold. My ears are clogged. If I talk too softly or too loudly, just raise your hand at me. You know? Or if I don't hear you, raise your hand.
I'm here also.
Mr. Ball.
Here.
Mr. Costa.
Here.
Mrs. Jankis. Here. Mrs. Haynes. Absent. Mrs. Skrobak. Absent. Chief McEwen.
Present.
Mr. Wills.
Here.
Ms. Catania.
Here.
Mrs. Stillwell.
Present.
Ms. Matagi.
Here.
Mr. Karankovitz.
Here.
Ms. Morris.
Here.
I believe we have enough.
Let the record reflect that Councilwoman Skrobak, Councilwoman Hayes, and Mayor Roman are all ill and are to be excused. I'll entertain a motion to accept January 2025 council meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? So moved. Mr. Secretary, do you have any correspondence? this
No,
week?
ma'am, no correspondence.
We're gonna keep it moving. Chief, do you have the mayor's crime report?
I do, yes. There we go. So crimes reported in December, we have 0. Calls for service are 152. The most prevalent, 18 medical emergencies, 9 suspicious persons, 8 building checks, 35 assist other agencies, 7 domestics, and 9 service calls. We have 3 accidents, 15 traffic details, 26 motor vehicle stops, 8 citations, 18 warnings, and 0 non-traffic citations.
Thank
That's
you.
all.
Did the fire company leave a report?
Yes, ma'am. Chief Lamey's report for January 2025. The fire company responded to 47 calls for the month of January. 7 building fires, 24 medical calls, 7 smoke detector investigations, 2 CO alarms, 2 motor vehicle accidents, 3 automatic fire alarms, 1 power line incident, 6 special incidents. The end of year financial report is attached. Please check our social media sites to see any fundraising events coming up. We are grateful for the money the borough gives the fire company, but our funding raising help pay for our bills also. So please help support your fire department. This helps pay for our training and medical supplies that we carry on our engine. Our food pantry is still taking donations. We are here to help those in need. 2024 yearly expense, insurance, $46,537.32. Truck repair, maintenance, $31,303.72. Communications, $30,373.60. Building repair, $26,785.36, for a total of $135,000. Parkside Borough checks, 4 checks at $33,750, total $135,000.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we have call to citizens on agenda-related items only. If you have a question concerning something on the agenda, this is your time to ask it. Moving on to the president's report, we've had 2 audits this past month, one being our year end for 2024 and the other being workers' comp. Both went extremely well. I'm sure Mr. Bull will elaborate on this during his report. I have asked Ms. Catania and Mr. Wills to communicate with Mr. Fuller of Keystone Lighting Solutions. We still have several lights that have not been converted to LEDs. And as everybody is aware, we're in our third year of this project. The good news is, other than the initial study and survey monies, we have not paid anything else. All the necessary forms for DCED have been signed by Mr. Platt and I for the grant that we received. We're still physically waiting for the funds. They tell me the check's in the mail. We have a zoning hearing coming up March 6th, which is a Thursday at 7 p.m. It was originally scheduled for the end of this month and had to be rescheduled. I'd like to remind our public that if you have any questions or concerns regarding borough issues, to please contact our secretary directly. Please do not post questions and concerns on social media, as many of these issues don't get addressed. Call the borough secretary, who's in the loop on everything we need to know. Also, any questions for our fire company, contact their station. I'm sure somebody can get back to you on that. The borough and the fire company are separate entities. We do not have the answers for their questions. I'm sure they don't have the answers for the questions concerning the borough. That's all I have this evening, and we'll move on to the financial report unless anybody has any questions for me.
Thank you, Madam President, ladies and gentlemen, and council at large. Treasurer's report to the Borough of Parkside, date February 17th, 2025, meeting February 19th, 2025. All bank accounts are reconciled through January 31st, 2025, and we are including the bank reconciliation and statements for all reconciled funds for council's approval. General fund for the month of January, $117,964.28 was deposited into TD Bank, which includes a $100,000 transfer from Pliggett's general account. That's our interest-bearing account and works fantastic. There was expenses of $198,993.58 that were paid, which also included the transfer to Sharon Bank. During this time, $111,933.65 of deposits were received into the Sharon Bank's general fund, and also included the transfer. So we had to move some things around just to keep afloat during this time when taxes have yet to start coming in. So of that, $74,841.01 of expenses were paid, including payroll of $70,959.89, with a year-to-date interest income of $2,237.61. Below are the bank balances for the statement ending January 31st, 2025. General account, Sharon Bank, balance $118,976. General account, TD Bank, balance $56,708.76. General account, Pliggett, $485,649.69. Rest are essentially de minimis, but have all been reconciled and accounted for. I would like to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report for the month of January.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I would like to make a motion to pay the bills. And I would like to abstain from check 1823 as I work for that company, but had no monetary gains from the transaction that took place.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? So moved.
And with all that said, I did have a chance to meet with the auditors briefly on the second day that they were here. Everything was wonderful. They had nothing but nice things to say. They had nothing but nice things to say about council, how our professional staff runs the professional side of things, and that it was a sigh of relief for them. There were no not legitimate or illegitimate findings. There were a couple that were paid with liquid fuels that, some things changed, but that's not, I wouldn't say that was like a finding. What would you call that? Just a
Recommendation.
Oh, yeah,
recommendation?
we have to reclass due to different.
Yeah,
That's
so I
pretty
mean, it
common.
wasn't, but it certainly wasn't a penalty.
No.
And then the rest was to get updated W-4s, I-9s, and IDs from staff and employees, just to keep everybody 100%. So with that, I will recommend or report general progress.
Super, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Poole? Moving on to the open space, do we have anything for open space?
I heard Ryan with the chainsaw up there, but I had my hands full this week, so I apologize. I didn't even get a chance to get a whole lot of, I think we took about 14 trees off of houses, in houses.
It was a rough
through
weekend.
houses. Yeah. So really, honestly, if you have trees, take care of your trees. Because if it's a good, healthy tree, the chances of it coming down are a whole lot less likely. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Doug. Junior councilperson, Mr. Costigan.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll just turn it over to the junior council for their report.
So I just have a somewhat quick report. It's about the Memorial Garden and the dates that we're trying to plan. So as of right now, we're trying to get the Memorial Garden finished before the summer. And after I spoke with Mr. Wool, we have somewhat of a plan depending on the weather and other types of things that may change dates. But in March, we're going to be breaking down the ground and testing the soil. Miss Moore offered to help us, and she's like trying to become a master gardener. But we'll be prepping the area for planting in April, and hopefully on Tuesday, April 22nd, we will start planting. And in May, we'll have a bench and a plaque to the garden. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm not good at speaking. But in May, we will add a bench and a plaque to the garden. And we will also have a dedication on or around Memorial Day. And we anticipate those that had donated, hopefully, will come along and join us in planting. We look forward to putting the vision into reality and Parkside having their own memorial garden. But that's about it. No.
Super.
Sorry, I can't.
You did good.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I have been helping him out with it and enjoying every second of it. And he does actually hold a one-to-one conversation perfectly as far as that goes. So
It's the public
the
speaking.
donations, a lot of people don't like it. That public speaking, it's a thing. A lot of the donations could very well cover what's needed now. If we can get some matching grants or we can get some support from the borough, it'll just make it nicer.
We did budget.
So, just a few of those things.
Yeah.
Green Region out there as well.
So we were looking at, the best way to dead reckon you to get there is if you're going towards the woodlot entrance at the lower side, about 75 feet before you get to the sign.
Mhm.
There's like a little bermed area and it has a nice little cascade to it, but the grade isn't significant. So if it was, it would be at grade, a little walkway up, nice little sitting bench surrounded by some plantings that I think would look really nice at, prom time, those sort of things for, like when kids were getting prom pictures and things. So maybe rhododendrons, maybe some of those other flowering plants with some background to it. And other than that, he has done a fantastic job. So I definitely recommend
We
it.
did budget for funds for the memorial garden. I'm wondering, and you and I spoke briefly about this, if there's enough to have the bench there and then maybe an archway.
Mhm.
I don't know because we haven't started the money end of it yet, but I think that would look really nice with some climbing vines.
Yeah, absolutely.
you know?
So,
And hopefully in March you can break ground. I mean,
Yeah,
we gotta wait for the weather.
it's wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking,
We're
I
just
think
trying
so
to get like a
too.
little plan laid out for like, dates and all that.
Thank you, very nice. Do you have anything else, Mike?
No, that's all.
Did the mayor leave her recreation report?
She did.
She did. Would you like to read it?
I would.
Thank you.
So our first event of the year, the VIP dance, which was originally scheduled for last weekend. We had to reschedule it twice, so anyway, the mayor apologizes for the inconvenience for rescheduling this dance and any confusion that because we're trying to do the best that we can to keep the post updated because we've had to reschedule it twice. So, in addition to just maybe calling the borough or stopping by the borough, you can always check our Facebook page and stuff like that. And then that's where the most accurate information is on our post about the dance. But the volunteers are excited to see everyone dressed up and having a great time. So come out with your special person, which is why we call it the VIP dance. Meet up with your friends, eat, kick off your shoes, and show off your moves. So the new date, I know the mayor's words exactly. Our new date is March the 8th. That's a Saturday, and it's from 4 to 7 at the Firehouse. The next big event we have is the very next weekend now, which is we started this as last year was the first year we had our Easter bingo, which is a children and family friendly event. This is a great family event that we have Easter baskets as the prizes for each winner. We had a lot of positive feedback and it was a really successful event last year. So we're looking forward to another one. So again, the VIP dance is rescheduled from February to March the 8th. And then the following Saturday, which is March the 15th, that's going to be our next big event, which is our Easter bingo. And that is also at the Firehouse. Then following that is just a reminder that the Easter egg hunt is in April on the 12th. And then following that would be our community day, which is on May 17th. From 12 to 4, and that is here in this area on the school grounds and the borough grounds. Reminder, if anybody takes any pictures at any of these events or just something you would like to pass along, just tag us on Facebook. It's a hashtag Parkside Rec 2025, so all the pictures will be in one common location. And then lastly, if you have not received our flyer, our recreation committee flyer, which is a list of all of our events and the dates, just reach out to anyone on the recreation committee or Bob here at the borough. You can stop by. We've got copies all over the place, but we'd be more than happy to bring it out to you if you haven't. The weather hasn't been greatly cooperative. Easy for us to get those flyers out. So anyway, just reach out to us and we'll be happy to get one to you. So as always, keep up with our events in the flyer, our Facebook page, Parkside Recreation Committee, or email us at parksiderec19015@gmail.com. And that's it.
Super. Thank you so much. Police Public Safety, Vice President Capabianco.
Thank you, Madam President. First and foremost, I'd like to thank our Parkside Fire Department. We were running around on Sunday like chicken without a head on there. We had at least 5 calls in the borough itself. For the public to know is that when there is smoke coming from your panel or a line that came down, we stay on scene until PECO's done with everything. So we were there at the White House for almost 3 hours because we had to wait there for any problems that may arise. So we at the Parkside Fire Company, it's a thankless job. It really is. It's a really thankless job. So with that, I'd like to thank Chief McEwen for bringing an extra officer in that night. Thank you very much on that.
Our highwayman.
Our highway, yeah, Brian. I mean, it was a crazy night. It was
This
just,
is a wild Sunday.
yeah, it was nuts. With that being said, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the solicitor to advertise for sale the fire marshal's coat.
Do we have a second?
second.
Any questions on the motion?
And again, just for everyone's edification, because the fire marshal's jacket has an estimated fair market value in excess of $1,000, we're required to advertise for bids. So I'll place the appropriate ad in the newspaper, and then I'll have a recommendation to award that bid at the March monthly meeting.
Any other questions or concerns? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? So moved.
That code is hanging up in the borough office.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
For code enforcement, I can report general progress. License and inspection for the month of January, the following permits were issued. Building 2, plumbing 1, electrical 1. And that's my report.
Before the meeting, I spoke with our fire marshal about a new system that Delaware County may be coming up with. It would be free, and it's a phone connect alert system. So I asked Mr. Smith, he's going to obtain the information, and I asked him to work with you on that as far as public safety.
Yep.
So it's something new that's coming out. I don't have the particulars. It is free. So, we'll get that worked out.
Yep.
Moving on to ordinances, Mrs. Skrobak is ill. We have a proposed resolution 1889, a resolution of the Borough of Parkside, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, authorizing the borough participation in the Pliget P code program through BMO Harris Bank, NA. We've revised this resolution from the original. The change is whereas the bank has agreed to establish a card account for the borough under the Banks Corporation MasterCard program with an initial monthly credit limit of $10,000. We originally passed this ordinance, but the bank came back and said that their minimum for us to complete this process was $10,000. So, no single purchase shall exceed the sum of $500 without prior approval of Borough Council and upon the recommendation of the appropriate departmental chair. Borough Council Resolution 1885 is hereby rescinded. The borough hereby designates Treasurer Donna Stillwell of Brinker Simpson Company as the administrator of the borough's P code program. I'll entertain a motion to pass and adopt Resolution 1889.
Make that motion.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? So moved. Before Mrs. Skrobak was ill, her and I spoke about grants. As many of you know from prior councils, the borough obtained many grants through the history of the last 20-some years. We always keep an eye out for grants. The problem with grants is they are not as frequently found to fit our needs as they had been in prior years. If we obtain a grant, we have to be able to show where we're going to use it and how we're going to financially support this grant through the life of its program. A prime example, Ms. Catania and I spoke recently about, we received many grants concerning the woodlot, but we are now at the point of continually upgrading, correcting, repairing, removing trees, so that we have to budget that money every year. So that if you get a grant, how are you going to use it? Where's the need? And how are we going to afford it? We did budget match money. As everybody knows, some of the grants, they want a portion of the grant as a match money. Unfortunately, some of them want 50%. So this year for the 2025 budget, we did budget a portion for match money for grants. So hopefully we will continue to obtain, and we can only hope that we receive some grants. But that's all I have, and that's what Mrs. Skrobak and I did speak about. So we're going to move on to Property Works. Miss Allison. I'm sorry, my cold's getting the better.
That's okay, that's all right. I'll reiterate something that the president said earlier with reference to the checks in the mail for the $75,000 grant, that we're moving along now with the HVAC improvements, finally some heat and some units that are functioning, which I'm sure everybody is thrilled about now. So I think we have 2 units maybe, and then a condensation 3.
Lisa's
That-
saying 3, but we're gonna discuss that under the engineer's report.
Perfect. They started last week, Pat, maybe?
Yes.
So anyway, we're moving along with that, which I think everybody's happy about. Second, I want to reiterate something that Vice President Capabianco mentioned, which was just a thank you to the Highway Department, to you, sir, as well, the Fire Department, and everybody with all their hard work and that craziness that was going on with the weather. I think we just kind of got hit back to back with a little snow and then that crazy wind just really wreaked havoc. And we had just some information bulletins circulating here that put out some great information from you guys, just reminding all the residents, that if you have, an emergency situation or if you see anything that's concerning, please call 911. I think everybody here on this team is very responsive. And then also just as a reminder, as a resident, just to try to maybe take inventory and some precautionary measures at your house. If they're predicting some kind of a weather event, that would be helpful too. And then, if you see anything around in the borough, please call. And I know this is on the agenda for the engineer
Yes.
to address later separately, but I just wanted to say, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are very excited, looking forward to the repairing of Edgemont Avenue. So I'll just put that out there. I'm not the only one. And then also, last but not least, I would like to thank our tirelessly diligent
I'm exhausted.
secretary who goes above and beyond, just noticing that after a recent power outage, our emergency lights were not working. So now we're on the pathway to getting those fixed. So, you do a lot around here and you keep your eye out on things. So we appreciate it. I think that's about it. Frank, with that, general comments.
And Bob has been huddling around the space heater for a week.
Yes.
Because we've had no heat.
I was about ready to put that fire marshal coat on.
I imagine it's been
Mittens.
challenging. Yeah,
Yeah, it's been not a fun week around here.
hopefully that'll be done
You
soon.
type with mittens, Bob?
You know,
I've seen that.
The worst part about it, I was telling Nick the other day, my desk was so cold because it was shut down for 3 days. And being a diabetic, my circulation isn't all that great. My hands. My hands. So I'm grateful for the heat. So thanks for all
We are.
involved. Now, if we can just get the money for it.
Yep.
Now we have to pay him.
Well, that's why I
another
reached out
question
today,
we've been
where's
dealing
our
with.
check? We're gonna want to be paid.
Emergency management, Mr. Smith.
So Fire Marshal Emergency Management Report for January. For Fire Marshal on East Chelton Road, we had a microwave fire. That report is on file with the Borough Secretary. We also had a wires call on Edgemont Avenue that wound up turning into a building fire response at Parkside Elementary School. Those crews found that a motor for the school's heating system had burned up during that power loss. Caused some concerns for the school. I've been working with the school also on making sure that they have safety backups if a leg of power does drop out again. It did close the school for the day, which was a Friday, which is good because then it was fixed and the kids were back in by Monday. Emergency management, once again, as everybody else is saying, I just want to thank the Highway Department for taking care of the streets and the borough sidewalks throughout the all recent snow and ice storms. I also realized that the fire company was out trying to help out as many senior residents as they could, the people that couldn't do their own sidewalks. The fire company was going out and helping with that. Last but not least, the first mailing of fire safety inspection forms were sent out, and the second mailing will be sent out by the end of the month for the inspections to start in March. That's all I have.
Hometown heroes, Mr. Costigan.
Thank you, Madam President. Just again, a reminder to submit any applications for the Hometown Hero Banner Program by March 7th. So that deadline is coming up. Again, just a reminder to anybody out there to make sure that you submit your applications by March 7th.
You want to move on to recycling?
Sure. Our totals for the month of January, trash, we had 81.26 tons. Recycling, we had 14.92 tons.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Costigan? Mr. Platt, did Mrs. Haynes leave a report?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
She actually sent the report in the form of a letter, so I'll just read the letter. Dear Parkside community, we hope this message finds you warm and cozy during the chilly season. We wanted to inform you that the winter edition of the Parkside newsletter has been printed and is ready to be shared with you. However, due to the recent cold weather, the delivery of the newsletter has been delayed. We appreciate your patience and understanding as we work to ensure that everyone receives their copy safely. In the meantime, we encourage you to stay connected with us through our website and social media channels where we will be sharing highlights and updates from the winter edition. Also, I have started EMT school with a group of Parkside Fire Company members who want to better themselves and serve you and will be missing some meetings. Thank you for being a valued member of our community. We look forward to bringing you the latest news and events as soon as possible. Stay warm. Sarah Haynes, Communications Committee.
Thank you. Mr. Fisher leave a report?
He did?
Did he leave money?
No, no money tonight.
No money?
No money. Actually, this report, he gave to me after the last meeting. He does not have a report for tonight,
Okay,
but since we haven't read this, I'll read this
okay.
tonight. It's December 17th, 2024 to January 19th, 2025. Treasurer has received a total of $1,440,838.89 to date. There was $32,858.45 in revenue deposits from December 17th, 2025 to January 19th, December 17th, 2024 to January 19th, 2025. This will be the total for the 2024 tax year. Regards, Ed Fisher.
Super, thank you. We're going to move on to our engineer's report. We have several things on the list, but let's start with a motion to accept the base bid price in the amount of $170,840 for the repair of what I always call the sinkhole on Edgemont Avenue.
I will make that motion.
Second,
Just as
we want to clarify this.
clarification, this is not one sinkhole. This is repair of three different areas. One area about 20 feet in Edgemont Avenue in the main that runs right dead smack center in Edgemont Avenue. The bottom of the pipe is gone. So we're going to be replacing that. We're going to be replacing the area that is currently has the sinkhole, the actual sinkhole. A sinkhole, you're seeing depressions. A sinkhole is actually going down through. Where the plate is currently is where the sinkhole is. And then we also are going to be replacing an area that we found again from the inlet to the manhole by that particular sinkhole is also the bottom of the pipe is gone. So we're going to be replacing that. We're doing that under an emergency permit through PennDOT. We have an emergency card and we're going to be utilizing that. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands they are the priorities that we've talked about all along. I believe when Mr. Roto was here, he had estimated that it was about $143,000. This work will be done at night. So, and we do have a detour plan that's already set up. So that was part of the bid package when we sent it out. So we should be in good shape for anything that is currently an issue for us. The rest of the alternate that we got was for the full replacement of all of the lines. So you'll see that next. I just want to make sure that everybody understands. We're worried about this first piece. They could actually, when I get a hold of Mike Burns, that's their plate and that's plate, and they probably would pave it in the spring, or unless we're going to go ahead and do this second bid. Okay.
That was my explanation. You did it better.
Well, I'm glad. Thank you.
And again, we're doing the first motion for the $107,000 as emergency work. Okay? So I'll entertain a motion. Did we get the motion?
Mm-hmm.
And we got a second?
Yeah.
Any other? I have a head cold, please remember, don't laugh. Any questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Right.
Aye. All those opposed? So moved. The next motion is to authorize the additional alternate bid, $163,087 to complete the repairs on Edgemont Avenue. Again, this is to complete the rest of the project in which we need a PennDOT permit to do. We cannot classify that as an emergency situation. We're putting it on the agenda tonight so that if we can obtain the permit between now and March's council meeting, we don't have to wait. We're going to give Ms. Catania the authorization to proceed if we can get that PennDOT permit in the next couple of weeks.
Make that motion.
Second.
Thank you. I've also spoken with Mrs. Stillwell. I always call it the COVID money, the ARC money, to pay for the initial cost, the initial base bid. And we will have enough to continue with this project to do from Elbon to Garrison. If we can get the PennDOT permit and we can keep this project rolling. So, any questions or concerns?
A question.
Yes.
So the initial repair is going to be done regardless of whether we get the other permit. The additional repair is pending the permit. Are we doing the job, the full length at some point?
We have, under the emergency ability to do the sinkhole, and I want
Correct.
to say
So-
18 feet, am I right? 18 or 20 feet?
No, we've got.
Is it 24 feet?
Let me look.
24 feet?
This is a month ago.
I know.
My brain. I
The first was.
don't need,
70.
I'm surprised I have as much of a voice as I have.
Ms. Catania?
It's 100, it's
Number 40.
about 160 feet of pipe that we're going to be doing, as part of the emergency.
And that's listed under an emergency, but as I stated, we're projecting to get a PennDOT permit so that we can go from Elbon all the way to Garrison. And that whole section, along with the manhole that has to be lifted, we have 20 feet down, 15-inch pipe for a manhole that has to come up. We'll complete the whole project. Any other questions or concerns? All those in favor?
Right.
Aye. All those opposed? So moved.
Is there a tentative date to proceed?
Yesterday, I hope.
I
I
will let them know tomorrow that we've awarded the contract.
Right.
So it'll just be a matter of putting some quick agreement together. We have an agreement that we have typically used. We can utilize that, or Jay and I usually talk the day after the meeting to see who's doing the agreement. So we'll get that moving. Again, as I said, everything we need to do, we need to give PennDOT 3 days under our emergency permit. We need to let them know that we're going to work it as an emergency, and we move forward. Of course, they'll have to provide submittals for the pipe, et cetera, because that's something that PennDOT will require. Just as an FYI, because this is ARPA money, we use the federal prevailing wage rates versus of Pennsylvania, figuring we weren't real sure of, we've heard too many different
Versions. Oh, yeah.
versions of how the ARPA money can be used and what needs to be done in order to utilize it. So I thought, on the safe side, I can tell you that federal wage rates always supersede the state, so we were safe in doing that. So hopefully we're good. We've got a contractor that has bid the project.
And the ARC money infrastructure is permissible, so I don't think
That's
that's going to
correct.
be a problem.
Right.
Madam President, can we get something on social media saying what's pending out there? Because I know we're going to get complaints about the noise at nighttime.
Well, Lisa has to put together the work schedule as to hours and,
Let me tell you that the reason that we told them that they had to work
9 to 3.
from 9 to 3 was because the police chief had requested that, the former police chief, excuse me, I'm sorry. Sorry, chief. The former police chief had requested that that work be done at night. So if we can do it during the day, then again, though, we're at the school. They were gonna be involving the school, so I think we need to take a look at it. And if it means that some days they're working during the day and sometimes they're working at night, that's how, we're not gonna be able, because some of this pipe is in the middle of the street, we have to do a detour. I can't have the contractor working on one side of the street and have cars going past the trench. Or we can,
On the
and the fire
sidewalk.
company and everybody else. I have had,
We knew this was gonna
literally
happen.
had a car go past 2 signs, barricades, past an excavator and landed in the trench on Chichester Avenue. So it happens. We're gonna try to make sure that it doesn't happen.
That's the other problem.
Take the
We're
precautions.
going to get more calls about the detours going up through. That's what I say, at least put something out there so we're ahead of things. You know we're going to get complaints about it. All I'm saying is put something out there of what's pending to happen. And if you see all the traffic going through your neighborhood, we know about it.
It's not going through the neighborhoods.
Well, how you detouring it off Edgemont Avenue?
It's going Brookhaven Road, Upland. It has to go on state highways.
Okay, because it's, okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that somebody's not gonna find
Yeah,
some way to go through, but you would have that in any circumstance, right?
And Ms. Catania will
So-
let our secretary know the scheduling, the
I was just gonna
hours.
Yeah,
ask,
Bob and I
what-
were just-
We're just talking about what is the schedule? Is it
I don't know.
2
We don't
weeks,
know
3
We
weeks?
have a length of how long we think the project's gonna take.
I would think at maximum 3 weeks for the emergency, and that's probably giving them more time than, what they've asked is versus working 9 to 3, would they be able to start earlier? And I do think that we could have them start earlier. The original request was that they work 9 to 3. If we can get them like 7 to 3, they'd like to get an 8-hour day in.
Sure, understood.
This project is the proverbial short-term pain for long-term gain.
It's been 3 years, people. We
You
gotta
read
get it done.
our little letter we sent to the residents.
Those machines are
So
wonderful.
as soon as we get a schedule, a time frame, the secretary will let everybody know. We can have Theo post it on our website, post it on social media. Vice President, you can let the fire company know, the
Yeah.
chief. I mean, we've got resources here, people. And I always tell everybody, check our website. It's got great information. So we'll get it out there.
Okay, good.
And if you see somebody going past your house a little often,
Wait, hi.
wave to them.
Yeah.
I put on the agenda, a motion to authorize a change order for the HVAC system to add another unit. However, I understand we had a condensation line that had to be replaced. Now, do we have funds to replace another old unit in this grant?
You have, right now, it was authorized last month to do 3 units. So the 2 in the police station and the 1 unit in the administration office are replaced. I wish I would have, I wasn't sure what this meant. I don't know that I brought the numbers with me.
Do you want to use my
Um,
email?
I may have it right here. Let me see if I do. Right all over it. Okay, yeah, I do.
Okay.
Okay, so each unit is about $19,000. So we have, it's 38, 7, and 19. I thought Donna probably knows this faster than I do.
56 and some change.
So we're talking 56, so we would be over putting another unit in, a 4th unit in. because it will be over the 75 that we were looking at. In talking, the reason that it's taking longer than what they were expecting is they found condensate lines, which you see in places where the condensate lines in the units are actually split. So they had to replace them in order to turn the units on because they couldn't turn them on until the condensate lines were repaired. My expectation, based on a conversation that I had with Ryan Kelly from Divine, is that it's going to be about $1,200. I told him I wanted it in writing and I wanted to see what his hourly costs are, et cetera, and materials. Supposedly they're not going to charge us for materials because they had materials on the truck. They're going to just charge us for the man hours. So I just need to verify that. But he thought it would be about $1,200 to replace the condensate lines in the 3 units.
Well, my theory is even with that repair, we have $75,000. If the boroughs, and we're getting a rebate from PICO, by the way. So with the rebate, and if the borough would pay approximately, again, I'm just looking at rough figures, $2,000 or $2,500,
Yeah.
could we get another replacement unit?
You can do it if, the only thing that I worry about is whatever we're asking the contractor to do, we have the money to pay for it. So as long as we have the money to pay for it, you're fiscally responsible to pay them, then it, you can do whatever you want to do. I will tell you that the rebate from PICO is like $25 a ton. These are only $3 units, so you're not talking that you're going to see thousands of dollars from PICO. You're going to see a very minimal amount. You are going to see a tax credit, which doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, because we're not a taxable entity.
Right.
There's like $1,000 tax credit for using these SEER units, these specific units. And it's really up to the council. If you'd like to see a 4th unit, then we request that they put the 4th unit in.
I would like to see it.
I would too, only because these units
Or leave
Yeah.
the money on the table,
are so old.
happens to the difference.
I calculated that the difference that we would owe over and above the grant would be under $3,000. The units are approximately $19,000.
Right, so it's $16 per month.
So,
Yeah.
Donna,
Yeah, I mean, you're fine to do it.
Wouldn't the cost savings be efficient, because we got the efficient units now, it'd be a lot lower?
Ms. Catania and I talked about this, the rebate is small, okay, $500, $600. But they're more cost efficient
Right,
with the electricity than those 20-year-old units.
Right.
So if we spend, let's say, $3,000 max, you're gonna recoup that through energy saving down the road. And these units are old, so it's a matter of not if they're gonna go, but when are they gonna go? So if we have, I don't wanna turn back money from a grant that was free.
that's right.
And if it costs us $3,000 for a $20,000 unit,
You're right. I mean, from an economic standpoint, if you have the $3,000, we definitely don't want to leave money out on the table. So,
okay.
Put it up, Shirley.
Makes sense.
Then I'll entertain a motion to authorize the engineer to do a change order for the HVAC system to add another unit for replacement in the borough under the grant, with the borough paying the difference in the cost.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Ms. Catania, would you contact the,
yeah, I'll talk to him tomorrow.
and see what his time frame is? I mean, he can fit us in.
Yeah.
Whichever
lot of
unit
these
is the
are-
oldest.
A lot of these are off-the-shelf units.
Mhm.
They're 18 and 20 SEERs, so
Okay.
they're highly efficient units. I think we're probably at maybe a 6. SEER here. I don't even think these were actually rated under SEER. when
They were too
put in.
old.
They were too old, but, you know, that's the difference in cost.
And we will save energy costs, so it's cost effective.
A couple things that I wanted to mention tonight, since Councilwoman Schrobeck isn't here, we had a kickoff meeting for the mini pros, for the mini open space and recreation plan with the consultant about 2 weeks ago. Talked about meetings, having people come in, the study committee. I put together a little letter that she then sent to the study committee explaining what the study committee is, the time frame. We're talking about 5 to 6 months for the plan to be completed, prepared, and then adopted. We're looking for a meeting date. So we're going to set up an initial meeting with the study committee and the consultant. The consultant has all of the open space plans that I have, a copy of any of the grant applications that we currently have, so that he's prepared to jump in. As a matter of fact, the first meeting, what he'd like to do is have some boards ready with some ideas, so he can bounce them off the study committee to see where they stand. I know that there was one email that we do not have from the study committee, and she was working on that particular contact information. But we thought it was best to get it out to any of the members of the study committee. I believe that you're listed as the chairman of that group. Did you know that?
Yeah,
Okay. I just thought
I do remember.
but I would share that with you. Anyway,
It's been a while
just
since
wanted
this
to let you
process
know
started.
that we are starting on this thing. They'd really like to get moving on it. The consultant is Collier Engineering. I'm supposed to have a phone call with them on Monday or Tuesday so we can get everything in order. The Pico Green Region grant has monies, the grant application that we have for the Memorial Garden and for additional trees to replace some of the trees that were lost in the woodlot because of the boar infestation. And we're doing some riparian buffer work as well with that. It was only $10,000 grant, but it's out there. We should hear shortly. I just want to make sure that everybody's aware that there is other monies that we may be getting for that, from that Pico Green region. And then the other thing that I need to mention is I need to get our structural engineer into the building. One thing that happened while we were going through the HVAC was we found that there is a very concerning member of the trusses in the front room of the administration office, the police station, that I want to have our structural engineer take a look at.
Is
So-
the police there?
Oh, yeah.
Police?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so,
Always.
the chief pointed it out to me and I looked at it, and there's a differential so we need to take a look, see what's going on in that spot. But I want to make sure that it's okay to bring my structural engineer in to do that report.
And that's your original part of our building.
What's that?
Is that part of the reason why the doors are, or is that further up?
It could be, but I highly doubt it.
Maybe we need a structural engineer.
I have a feeling that is. I did structural engineering for
I'm just joking.
6.5 years. But I haven't done structural engineering for the last 30, so I don't feel real comfortable. Looking at it, I said to the chief, I can feel it that there's a differential. We need to really have this looked at. So,
You don't have any duct tape? I mean, like, really?
I think we can do that.
It's
It's just,
probably-
we're just the police, you know?
104th way to use duct tape.
You're back.
We're way past the 100. Anyway, I don't want
Lisa,
to
let's-
belabor the point. I just wanted
Let's
to
do
make
what we
sure
need to
that
do
everybody was aware of it.
to make sure everybody is
Okay.
safe in this building. Any questions or concerns for the engineer? Do you have one? Mr. Platt,
Yes,
it feels cool in this room. Is it still, the heat's, we just had heat this morning? So is it working its way up?
I think so. I didn't look when we came in.
Yeah, I'm comfortable.
For you, comfortable?
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually warm.
You got the chill, Shirley.
I want to.
Oh, you know what the mean, go home, put your fuzzy
More
slippers on.
Tylenol, more Tylenol.
It is set for 72, it's reading 72.
Yeah, there
Thank
we go.
you. Okay.
Yeah.
Optimum temperature.
Then it's me. Mr. Wills, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The February 19th, 2025 Solicitor's Report is as follows. Number one, the 2024 audit. I am pleased to advise that I have been in communication with the Borough Auditor to inform them that the borough is not subject to any pending or threatened litigation that may adversely affect the financial well-being of the borough. This is good news and reflective of the borough's sound operational practices and procedures. Number two, medical benefit reimbursement issues concerning the police. My office has assisted the council president and the chief of police in addressing medical reimbursement issues that were brought to the borough's attention by one of our police officers. I am pleased to advise that those issues have been amicably resolved by referencing pertinent language contained in the borough's collective bargaining agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police. Number three, 133 East Rowan Road. Again, this property owner had filed an application for a zoning permit to permit the borough, or to permit the property to conduct a home-based federal firearms license business. Now, said business traditionally involves the sale, transfer, and manufacturing of firearms. The property is situated in the borough's R1 residential zoning district. A professional home office in a dwelling unit is not a use permitted by right in the zoning district. A professional home office to conduct such a business is permitted only by special exception, and so granted by the zoning hearing board. Accordingly, the property owner's application for a zoning permit was denied. The property owner has in fact filed an application for a special exception with the zoning hearing board. That case is scheduled to be heard on Thursday, March the 6th at 7:00 p.m. at the municipal building. The public is invited to attend and participate. I will be representing the interest of the borough at that particular hearing. 4, delinquent trash fee accounts. Again, late last month on January 28th, my office forwarded 14 delinquent trash fee notices to property owners, advising them that they would have 30 days to satisfy their financial obligations to the borough, or municipal liens would in fact be filed against the offending property owners pursuant to borough ordinance. And again, if we had to lien those properties, that of course would result in additional court costs, attorney's fees, and interest on those delinquent accounts. So hopefully we will get a response from those letters. 5, 20 West Rowan Road. This property is scheduled to go to sheriff's sale on March 21st as a result of a mortgage foreclosure. Now, the subject property has a minimum of 3 municipal liens that have been filed against it. My office has notified the Delaware County Sheriff's Office of the delinquencies and has provided a payoff statement for the total amount due the borough, including court costs, attorney's fees, and interest. Sixth, State Ethics Commission. I remind the mayor, all borough council members, all publicly appointed officials, including members of the zoning hearing board and the civil service commissions, right, that they are required to file a statement of financial interest with the borough secretary's office on or before May the 1st of 2025. I highly encourage everyone to file an original and retain a time-stamped copy of the statement for their own personal records. 7, resolution authorizing the Pliget credit card account. Again, my office had drafted an amended resolution authorizing the borough's participation in the MasterCard account program through BMO Harris Bank. Again, providing a monthly credit account limit of $10,000. And again, that particular resolution has been affirmatively approved by Borough Council earlier this evening. Number 8, nuisance abatement liens. Again, when a property is in a state of disrepair and or in a dilapidated or dangerous condition, and after proper notice to the property owner, the borough will authorize its designated contractor, ADU Services, right, to provide emergency services in order to abate the property nuisance. A service and a repair bill is then generated by the contractor and forwarded to the borough, and a municipal lien is generally filed against the property with the court for the cost of the abatement services. The lien is not removed, and the borough is not required to pay ADU Services until it receives full payment from the property owner. Moving forward, no reimbursement shall be made to ADU Services, nor will any lien be removed from the property until the borough receives confirmation that the payment check has cleared the borough's banking institution. We ran into a slight issue earlier this week concerning that matter. And with that, Madam President, I can report general progress.
Super. Any questions for our solicitor?
If I may, I went to Sharon Bank today about that last issue. Not really sure it was returned for insufficient funds. Looks like the way the check was written is the reason it was not cashed. It's like 1,000 and then 3 digits and then another comma instead of a period. And in the verbiage of the check, there's no line and a cents over 100. It's just really
Poorly drafted check, we think.
Yeah, because I talked with, like I said, I went to Sharon Bank today, and nobody can really say why. The woman claims the money's there. When I talked to her today, she said that she talked to her bank. Problem we have now, she's out of the country till the 25th of March. So we're not going to be able to talk to her again until then. But I'm not really sure it's an insufficient funds issue as much as just didn't know how to write a check.
Well, perhaps,
But I like the idea of going forward.
I think that's just a
Absolutely.
little checks, Bob. We want to,
Yeah.
on those nuisance abatement, which generally are often in the thousands of
No, I
dollars,
agree.
as you know. Now on, we're going to make sure the check clears before we take any affirmative action, before I authorize our treasurer to reimburse ADU Services. We want to make sure, again, the money is in the bank.
bank. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's your time. If anybody has called as citizens, if you'd like to address council, please come up and give us your name and what would you like to say? Okay then. Thank you though for coming out on a cold night like this. We appreciate it. Moving on, does anybody on council have any old business? I'm looking at new business. We'll entertain a motion to authorize general code supplement to complete their work for this year in the amount of not to exceed $5,300.
I will make that motion.
Sorry, trying to say something.
Your yes got stuck.
It got stuck.
Any questions on the motion? And let me explain, general code does our e-code that's on our website. We had a problem in which our codes had not been legally codified since September of 2023. Before that. So they are catching up. Normal cost would be approximately $2,000 to $3,000. So we are catching up. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? So moved.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And I thank you.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming this evening.
Made it.